Cyril van der Merwe found himself partnering world champion Paul Radisich in the Sasol Ford Mondeo squad at Killarney. Radisich took over from Ben Morgenrood in Cape Town, with the New Zealander called in to speed up the Sasol Ford development program. Reigning touring car champions BMW picked up encouraging results at AA Killarney. Both BMW Envirocar drivers picked up points. There were 2 third places for Dion Joubert, with South African champion Sean van der Linde also getting his name on the score sheet. The BP Nissan Sentra squad had plenty to look forward to in Cape Town. Newcomer Geniel de Villiers made a big impression in his touring car debut, and former rally driver Nick de Waal also picked up valuable points in the first outing of the season. There were slim pickings for the Toyota Camry factory cars at the opening rounds of the AA Fleetcare Championship. Toyota were hoping for a change in fortune for rising star Anthony Taylor in the Castrol Camry and highly experienced Mike White in the Minolta car. Like Sasol Ford, the Rothmans Audi team is new to touring car racing in South Africa. The team made an uncomfortable start with Chris Aberdeen in hot water with race officials at AA Killarney. The Rothmans team was looking for a better showing in Cape Town from Aberdeen and teammate Terry Moss. Young Cape Townian Kuzi Swanepoel made a dream start to 1995 with a brace of wins in the fledgling Class B category. Swanepoel won rounds 1 and 2 of the championship in impressive fashion, and on his home circuit was looking for a repeat performance. Put on your helmets and fasten your seatbelts, because it's time for the action-packed AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship. 6 manufacturers and some of the best drivers in the world clash head-on in a formula which has taken world motor racing by storm. The AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship, Africa's most exciting racing formula. A panoramic view of Cape Town from the air, with Table Mountain standing guard over the city, an impressive sight. For teams travelling to the Cape for round 3 and 4 of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship at Killarney, there were more serious matters at hand than sightseeing. After dominating the opening rounds of the series, Opel Racing Works driver Mike Briggs tried to play down an emerging Opel dominance of the championship.
I think, to be honest with you, that at the first race we just caught everybody sleeping just a little bit. I don't for 1 minute believe that we're going to remain as dominant. I would certainly like to think that we are the team to beat during 1995, and that's hopefully going to remain that way. But the advantage that we enjoyed in the first race, I don't believe we will see again.
By opening the series with a brace of wins at AA Killarney, Briggs raced to the top of the points table. Opel's dominance at Killarney was cemented by 2 second places for teammate Grant McCleary. The Cape Town meeting did not start off on a happy note. The electronic timing system developed hiccups which proved to be a major frustration for the teams. The problem finally led to the cancellation of the Friday official qualifying session and an ultimatum from the South African Touring Car Association.
Despite all the assurances that we had, we're now sitting at Friday afternoon and we still haven't got a system that works. With the result, we then now said, and you know how close the touring cars are on the grid, that we're not prepared to go back into a hand system or any other nilly-willy system. We want to have the proper thing working. And we've given them now an ultimatum until tomorrow at 10:30, where we've got time practice.
A major talking point at Killarney was the appearance of world champion Paul Radisich in the Sasol Ford Mondeo team.
He's helped us a lot in the setup. He's told us what does what and why it does it and things like that. So from that point of view, it's been excellent. Also, it's been nice for me because from a driving point of view, I could see what he's doing and why he's doing it, and I could see how far I was, you know, how close I was. So it's just been a good experience.
Technology never stops in motor racing, with champion team BMW hoping for a boost via new components from Germany.
We're expecting the new wing package soon from Germany, which we're hoping and we know will help us a lot. We're still running early 94 aerodynamic packages, whereas most of the other cars are running 95 wing packages. So we feel that this is probably one of the biggest factors. It's making us slower than the other cars. Where we were much quicker than the front-wheel drive cars in a very fast order, we're now finding we're not even as quick as them.
Opel may have established an early dominance in the AA Fleetcare series, but the Opel Vectras do have their faults.
Yeah, very hard work to drive these cars, and especially hot. The biggest problem, I think, with these cars is that they were designed in Europe, where the ambient temperature probably doesn't rise much above 5 degrees Celsius. So inside the car, it becomes like an oven, probably something like 50 degrees centigrade. The exhausts run right underneath the car. There's a tunnel in the car which it closes the exhausts out, but the heat comes right through. I have a pipe here to try and blow some air into myself to try and keep cool.
With the electronic system finally sorted out, the official qualifying session got underway on the Saturday morning. Many of the teams tested at Killarney during the week, and these sessions and unofficial practice pointed towards a highly interesting situation developing in the fight for pole and grid positions. After 2 third places in the opening rounds of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship at Killarney, BMW Envirocar works driver Dion Joubert was back on his home circuit. Local knowledge helps, but both Joubert and reigning champion Sean van der Linde were off the pace set by some of the other drivers. Van der Linde was philosophical about their predicament.
Well, this whole week we've been betting to get the car to do good lap times, and I guess it's one of those race days. You know, you can't actually always be, I won't say competitive, but be in winning form all the time.
The BMW Envirocar squad was not the only team with problems. Highly experienced Mike White in the Minolta Toyota Camry was also battling to find the optimum setup for Killarney. White's problems were mirrored by young Anthony Taylor in the Castrol Camry. After a disappointing start to the season at AA Killarney, the Rothmans Audi team was one of those to put in some serious testing at Killarney prior to the race meeting. Test sessions are a grind, but for works drivers Chris Aberdeen and Terry Moss, the hard work was starting to pay dividends.
Well, we've been down here for the last week, and I think I've finally come to grips with the car. I've sort of all my own work's gone into it, running different setups to what the other guys have been running, well, elsewhere in the world. And I feel comfortable with it. The car feels fantastic. It's got fantastic brakes. Yesterday I followed one of the Opels into the tight corners, and I was able to close up 10 to 15 car lengths in the corners.
There were not too many complaints during qualifying from the BP Nissan team. Factory drivers Nick de Waal and Genil de Villiers had been on the pace all weekend. While de Waal is an experienced rally and track campaigner, de Villiers is in his first season of touring car racing. The young Cape Townian is the reigning South African standard saloon car champion and has made a tremendous impression.
We're third on the grid at the moment, so we're just going to try and hang in there. I don't think we'll try and challenge for the lead right in the beginning, save our tyres a bit, and then towards the end see how it goes, and then go for it. So I'll try and save my tyres at the beginning and towards the end, because it's 15 laps, it's a long race, and the tyres have got to last quite a while.
Over the last 2 seasons, Grant McCleary has had to live under the shadow of teammate Mike Briggs in the Opel racing setup. A former South African junior motocross champion, McCleary is fast and talented and has provided Briggs with tremendous backup. On the evidence of time during the pre-race test sessions and unofficial practice, there was never any doubt that McCleary and Briggs would be involved, along with the BP Nissans, in the thick of the battle for pole position. There were 2 other players in the pole position stakes, the Sassel Ford Mondeo pair of world champion Paul Radisich and Sarel van der Merwe. Radisich won the World Cup in 1993 and 1994, while the vastly experienced van der Merwe has had to learn a few new tricks in touring cars, but was trying his heart out. It was all eyes on Radisich in the closing stages of the qualifying session, with the New Zealander pulling out all the stops. In the Ford pits and up and down pit lane, computer printouts of lap times were carefully studied. Pole position went to Paul Radisich in the Sassel Ford Mondeo, who edged out Michael Briggs in the Opel Racing Vectra. Genil de Villiers in the BP Nissan Sentra shared the second row of the grid with Grant McCleary in the second Opel Vectra. Sarel van der Merwe set the 5th fastest time in the second Mondeo, with Terry Moss alongside him in the Rothmans Audi. Nick de Waal in the second BP Nissan Sentra shared the 4th row with Mike White in the Minolta Toyota Camry. Dion Joubert in the first of the BMW Envirocars and Anthony Taylor in the Castrol Toyota Camry completed the top 10. cars are among the most technologically advanced racing machinery in the world. But modern gadgetry isn't worth much if the cars cannot stick to the track.
Well, tyres basically is the most important thing on the vehicle. Without good tyres or good rubber, the vehicle can't go forward. So it's become one of the major factors in touring car racing today. Basically, we have, in terms of a Michelin, there's a choice of 2 different constructions of tyres, and we have a difference of 4 normal, what we call race tyres, and then of course you get the one construction with a qualifying rubber for each team. It's what we do prior to a race is we negotiate with each team, and we bring down, in a case like Killarney here, we will bring down between the teams and ourselves probably around about 400 types or 400 tyres as such. Today, for example, where it's very hot, some of the teams found that the qualifying rubber was not as good as the race tyres because they were too sticky, and if the tyre becomes too sticky, then they get too much drag down the straight. But normally, if it's fairly cool, a qualifying rubber can be worth up to 1 to 1.5 seconds a lap faster.
The parade lap before the start of round 3 of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship at Killarney. Poleman Paul Radisich in the Sassel Ford Mondeo leads one of the biggest fields we have seen in touring car racing down the back straight. Duncan Foss took pole position in Class B ahead of Kurzi Swanepoel, and they look set for a good dice. Anthony Taylor in the Castrol Camry finds himself down in 10th position on the grid, but he's in some pretty good company. We also have a race cam in Nick de Val's BP Nissan Sentra, and he will also be disappointed with his grid position. Hein Ladergan and Jess Huggett are the other Class B runners, and Steve Wyndham has made it onto the grid in the Tolman Motorsport BMW. Ted Tolman it was who gave Ayrton Senna his first Grand Prix drive, and good to see the Tolman name back in motor racing. The race cam view from Grant McCleary's Opel Vectra, and right now the adrenaline will be pumping. The green light, and Radisich has made a good start. Radisich in the Ford Mondeo has got the jump on Mike Briggs. Terry Moss and Mike White also got off to flyers as they storm into Holsworth. There's a bit of barging going on between Genil de Villiers and Terry Moss, and the Nissan driver has held on to 4th spot. Everyone looks to have made it through holes as they head for Castrol, with Grant McCleary and Terry Moss side by side. Paul Radisich leads from Mike Briggs and Genil de Villiers. Grant McCleary and Terry Moss are fighting over 4th and 5th, with Nick de Val and one of the BMW Enviro cars next up. Cyril van der Merwe made a dreadful start in the second Sassel Ford Mondeo and has dropped 4 or 5 places, but his teammate is out in front. World champion Paul Radisich from New Zealand leads a high-speed train into Sabat Corner. There looks to be some bodywork loose on the Sassel Ford Mondeo. Some of the cars use all the curbing at Sabat. Oh, and the Mondeo and the back bumper have parted company. Radisich must have been punted from behind in the early jockeying for position. Radisich has the inside line for Stanek Corner with de Villiers tucked in behind Briggs. McCleary has got past Moss and de Val in 6th, with one of the BMWs locking up the brakes as he dives inside Mike White in the Camry. That looks like Sean van der Linde, and the tyres won't like that sort of treatment so early in the race. The end of lap 1, and Mike Briggs in the Opel Vectra is looking for a way past race leader Paul Radisich. The Sassel Ford Mondeo is defending the inside line, and Briggs has Genil de Villiers in the BP Nissan tucked right up his exhaust. In only his 3rd touring car race, Genil de Villiers is putting in tremendous performance as we go to race cam with Grant McCleary in 4th place. De Villiers has gone wide at the approach to Castrol, but cuts across the Opel Vectra's bows, and the position up front remains unchanged. Ford leads Opel, leads Nissan. 3 different manufacturers are fighting it out for the lead in the 3rd round of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship. Grant McCleary is still 4th, with Terry Moss 5th and Nick de Val 6th. Next up are Sean van der Linde, the 2 Toyota Camrys, and Cyril van der Merwe in the 2nd Sassel Ford Mondeo. Race cam action from Anthony Taylor's Castrol Toyota Camry. Up ahead is teammate Mike White in the Minolta Camry, who is trying to pull back a place from Sean van der Linde, and Taylor has the best seat in the house. White won't be able to find a way around the outside of the BMW, and the South African champion has hung on to 7th place. Race leader Radisich leads Briggs in the charge past the pits, and the battle to watch is van der Linde, White and Taylor. Race cam action from the Taylor Camry, and he has van der Linde on his inside. Mike White looks to have a problem as Taylor goes past his teammate, and Taylor and van der Linde are fighting for the same bit of road in Holsworth. Oh, Van der Linde dived through on the inside, went wide and almost lost it in a big way as Taylor gets past the BMW. The race leaders are through Castrol, but there's some hectic action going on further back. Cyril van der Merwe is now involved in the battle with Mike White and Sean van der Linde, with Dion Joubert in the second BMW and Chris Aberdeen in the Rothmans Audi right on their heels. The order up front is unchanged, with Paul Radisich in the Sassel Ford Mondeo leading Mike Briggs in the Opel Vectra and Geniel de Villiers in the BP Nissan. Grant McCleary is still fourth in the second Opel and has a grandstand view of the battle ahead of him as the cars blast their way down the back straight before it's hard on the brakes for Stanek Corner. The Sassel Ford Mondeo leads into Stanek. Radisich has gone very wide and Briggs has nipped through on the lead, and de Villiers is trying to follow his example. That was a slight mistake from Radisich and it's cost him the lead, and de Villiers wants second place from the world champion. Grant McCleary in fourth place has also closed right up on the leaders, and Radisich is under tremendous pressure from Geniel de Villiers, but the New Zealander has hung on to second place. There is a tremendous battle going on up front, but there is also a good scrap going on between Duncan Foss and Coersy Swanepoel in Class B. De Vos has had his nose out in front in the Nissan Sentra, but he is under tremendous pressure from Swanepoel. That was a brave move to try and go around the outside at Stanek, but it hasn't worked for Swanepoel. Hein Lartigan and Jess Huggett are not far behind Vos and Swanepoel, but Steve Wyndham looks to be struggling in the Tolman BMW. There is Wyndham, and all is not well with the Tolman car as Swanepoel has another go at Foss at Holthook. Swanepoel is the local lad, and the BMW has got through on the inside. The halfway mark, and Mike Briggs in the Opel Vectra is starting to pull away from Paul Radisich, Geniel de Villiers and Grant McCleary. A bit of a gap has also opened between McCleary and Terry Moss in fifth place, with Nick de Waal in the Nissan Sentra closing in on the Rothmans Audi. Mike Briggs won the first two rounds of the AA Fleetcare Championship at Killarney and looks to be on track to make it 3 in a row. And what a drive from Geniel de Villiers, who has shadowed Radisich all the way. The Ford Mondeo is carrying the scars of battle, and de Villiers is now under serious pressure from Grant McCleary in the second Opel Vectra. Race cam action is from the McCleary Opel Vectra as he shadows the BP Nissan Sentra. De Villiers has gone wide at the entrance to Castrol, and McCleary has got him on the inside. The Nissan driver went a little wide at exactly the same spot a couple of laps ago, and McCleary nearly had him then. Now, can McCleary do something about Radisich, and can de Villiers get back into third place? Radisich has pulled a car length or two on McCleary, but the action in this race is far from over. Back to the action at the front of Class B, and this is as good a scrap as any on the track. Duncan Foss has edged the Nissan Sentra ahead of Coersy Swanepoel again, but the BMW is right in his slipstream. Stanek Corner is up ahead and anything could happen under braking. Foss is definitely defending the inside line, has locked up the brakes, and the Nissan has gone sailing off the circuit. Somewhere behind that cloud of dust is a Nissan Sentra and a driver who will be very angry with himself. Foss is making his way back onto the track, but he won't be happy. Back to the battle at the front of the field. Mike Briggs is starting to disappear into the distance in the Opel Vectra, but Paul Radisich in second place is still under pressure from Grant McCleary in the second Opel Vectra, and the impressive Geniel de Villiers in the BP Nissan Sentra. This is only the third touring car race for young de Villiers, and his reputation has gone up a notch or two. Radisich has earned a little breathing space between himself and McCleary, with de Villiers still fourth. Terry Moss is fifth and going like a train as he laps Class B leader Coersy Swanepoel. Whoopsie, and Moss has done a Duncan Foss and has gone farming at Stanek. The Rothmans Audi is quickly back onto the circuit, but that could cost Terry Moss a place. Racing slicks don't like that sort of treatment, and Moss will be slowed a little until all the muck is cleaned off the tyres. Nick de Waal is rapidly catching the Audi as they approach Holthook. The BP Nissan is as close to Moss as it has been all through the race. The rear fender on the Rothmans Audi is also a little the worse for wear, but that won't slow down Moss too much. His big problem is the tyres, but the Nissan doesn't look to be making any impression on the Audi, so perhaps the crisis is over where Moss is concerned. The final lap, and it's all over bar the shouting for Mike Briggs. He's opened up a gap of over 3 seconds ahead of Paul Radisich, and the Opel Vectra is on its way to its 3rd win on the trot. That means maximum points for Briggs, and it's been a tremendous start to the season for the 1993 Touring Car Champion. Grant McCleary and Kenil de Villiers won't catch Paul Radisich, but the world champion has had to work for his 6 points. Mike Briggs takes the checkered flag to win the 3rd round of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship. Once he found a way past Paul Radisich, it was all over for Briggs, and the Opel dominance continues. World champion Paul Radisich is 2nd to give Ford their 1st points in the championship, with Grant McCleary 3rd, Kenil de Villiers 4th after an impressive drive, and Terry Moss 5th in the Audi. Class B for the 3rd time in a row goes to Cozy Swanepoel, and what a start to the season it has been for him. Down on pit lane, it was smiles all around as overall winner Mike Briggs and Class B winner Cozy Swanepoel were presented with the spoils of victory by AA Fleetcare Managing Director Karen Bryden. Killarney crowds are among the most enthusiastic in the country, and they let you know where their loyalties lie.
Yeah, it was a good race. In the beginning, I could see Paul wasn't as quick as his qualifying time might have indicated, and I had a good look at him. And I just remembered that John Cleland said to me, pressurize him and he might make a mistake. And he made a small mistake at the bottom. I got past, and my car was just perfect, and I just ran away. And it's really good for me to do this because I wanted to prove a point, you know. There's nothing wrong with South African drivers, South African cars. We're pretty darn good. That's the world champion we've just beaten.
Well, I'm happy to win Class B. It's the 2nd round. I've won the 2nd round as well, first heat. I was very lucky. Duncan, I pressurized him maybe too much. It was a bit of oil down in BP. He overbraked, he went straight, and I made it to the inside, and I never saw him again. It was a clean run to the line.
Away from the frenetic world of motor racing, Opel Works driver Grant McCleary has more sedentary interests.
Well, it all started about 3 years ago when I bought this piece of property from a couple who lived just up the road, and I built a house, and it really was just felt, you know, and it all developed from there. The garden had to be done, and you know, today plants and gardening cost a fortune, and that's where my interest really started. I started digging around in the garden, planting the grass, and really going to nurseries on Sundays and just walking around looking at plants. But it's been a bit of a hit and miss because you know, I used to go to nurseries and have a look at plants and see what I liked and bring them back and plant them in the garden and wonder why they died, you know, because some plants like semi-shade, some like full sun, some like to be in the shade, and I was really just putting them anywhere. So I got a friend of mine involved. He specialised in the garden industry, and he came along and shaped my garden out and put all the right flowers in the right places. So they've really grown now, and it's really been up to me just to look after them. And it's nice to have a garden. It's nice and relaxing gardening. You know, to come home after a long day and you're tired, and it's pretty stress-free. Get your shoes off, put a pair of shorts on, and do a bit of digging in the garden.
All set for the 4th round of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship. Mike Briggs and Paul Radisich swap roles this time around, with Briggs in pole position as the lights go green, and we're underway. And there's trouble in the middle of the field. Someone's gone sideways. That's Cyril van der Merwe in the Sassel Ford Mondeo, who's in the wars. And there's plenty of pushing and barging as the cars try and find a way through Holshoek. More drama. Someone else has gone off the circuit. It looks like Grant McCleary in the Opel. We are with the race cam in Anthony Taylor's Toyota Camry, and he was hit by debris from the Opel Vectra. And now Taylor's in trouble as the Castrol Camry is nuts off the circuit. We have action aplenty at the start of the 4th round of the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship. A look at the replay of the McCleary incident, and it looks as though the Opel tangled with both Terry Moss and Nick de Waal. And the race has been stopped. The red flag is out, and clerk of the course, Brian Hoskins, has stopped the race. There was so much bumping and barging going on, it's almost impossible to say who did what to whom and where. Briggs and Radisich escaped the mayhem behind them, but there's some battered machinery out there on the grid. That's the McCleary Opel.
Oh, he just went into the first corner, and Terry just squeezed me wide onto the dirt, and I was a nose in front of him, and looks like it's front of the car's a bit damaged though.
Cyril van der Merwe's Sassel Ford Mondeo is also looking a little worse for wear, and up and down the grid there's some frantic activity going on.
To try and know what happens in the first corner accident that in fact had 3 different people involved in accidents, 3 different accidents in 100 meters. To try and unravel this one, I think it will take us until about Christmas time. I don't know yet. Each driver's got his own version of what's happened, and afterwards we can go into it. But in fact, it's a new race, so it's almost irrelevant, except for the damage in terms of a monetary cost for the cars. The rest of it's irrelevant. It's a new race now.
Everyone is patched up and ready to try again as the race is restarted. Briggs and Radisich are away cleanly as the pack streams off after them. They're at it again. A BMW is into the wall, and that's Dion Joubert. His race is over, and Cyril van der Merwe was a player in that incident as we go to race cam with Grant McCleary, who's 4th behind Mike Briggs, Paul Radisich and Ghanil de Villiers. It's almost a carbon copy of the 3rd round, except that Briggs is out in front a lot earlier. Briggs leads from Radisich, de Villiers, McCleary and Moss. Nick de Waal is 5th with Chris Aberdeen behind him in the 2nd Rothmans Audi. First heat winner, Kersey Swanepoel, is down to 3rd in Class B as we go to the race cam in the Funderlinde BMW Envirocar. The South African champion failed to finish round 3 and will want to pick up a point or 2 in this race. In front of the BMW is Mike White of the Minolta Camry as Funderlinde goes a little wide at Sabat. Less than a lap completed, and already there's a little gap opening up between the first 3 cars and the rest of the pack. Cyril van der Merwe is still going after his coming together with Joubert and is fighting his way through the Class B cars. Action from the Anthony Taylor race cam. He has his sights set on Terry Moss, who's lost a place to Nick de Waal. The Castrol Camry is alongside Chris Aberdeen in the 2nd Rothmans Audi as they head for Holthoek. Aberdeen is inside the Camry and has the tighter line and will force Taylor to go wide as up ahead Moss tries to attack de Waal. Back to the leaders, and Mike Briggs is starting to edge away from Paul Radisich in the Sassel Ford Mondeo. Once again, Radisich has a shadow in Ghanil de Villiers in the BP Nissan Sentra, but a good battle is developing behind them with McCleary, de Waal, Moss, Aberdeen and Taylor all involved. Briggs wants to make it 4 in a row in the AA Fleetcare Championship, and he's going about it the right way. The gap between the Opel Vectra and Radisich is gradually increasing, but Ghanil de Villiers in the BP Nissan Sentra is not letting the world champion get away from him. Just behind de Villiers, the battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th is still raging, and there could be action from that little bunch of cars. Anthony Taylor is in the thick of that action in the Castrol Toyota Camry as he squeezes inside Terry Moss at Stanley Corner. Taylor is past 1 Rothmans Audi and has another one in his sights. The Camry is pulling alongside Chris Aberdeen on the pit straight. Taylor found himself in exactly the same position on the previous lap, but that time Aberdeen managed to hold him off on the inside at Holthoek. Can he do it again? No, Taylor's picked up another position as we go back to the Class B battle. Duncan Foss is still ahead of 3rd round winner Kersey Swanepoel and has got himself embroiled in a scrap with Steve Wyndham in the Tolman BMW. This is first time out for the Tolman car, which was only completed hours before the start, and there's still an awful lot of development work to be done. Wyndham is another Cape Town driver and knows Killarney like the back of his hand. He just manages to hold off Voss with Swanepoel and Jess Huggett in hot pursuits. The halfway mark, and Mike Briggs is busy stamping his authority on this race. Here's a nice cushion over Radisich, but the world champion cannot shake off Ghanil de Villiers in the BP Nissan Sentra. De Villiers is the reigning South African standard saloon car champion, but already he must be the find of the season in touring cars. Racecam action from the BP Nissan Sentra, and de Villiers is starting to climb all over Radisich. He wants 2nd place and is starting to make a nuisance of himself where Radisich is concerned. The Sassel Ford Mondeo is starting to look a little twitchy, and Radisich may have a problem. De Villiers couldn't be closer to Radisich, and the Ford suddenly slowed and then veered to the right. De Villiers had to take evasive action, but the Ford is out of the race, and de Villiers is in 2nd place. It looked as though something may have broken on the Ford. As Radisich walked away, it looked as though a side shaft had broken. More drama up ahead of Grant McCleary, and this time it's the Toyota teammates Anthony Taylor and Mike White who have tangled. The two Toyotas made contact and Taylor has spun off at Sabat. This is not a pleasant place to go off, but it looks as though White may also have a problem as McCleary steams past them in Alta Camry. Duncan Foss and Kersey Swanepoel are still at it in the Class B battle, and their duels have been the highlight of the day. Racecam action from Genil de Villiers in second place in the BP Nissan Sentra, and here's a problem. Something's broken on the Nissan. It's going straight in on Holzhoek. Contact with the tyre barrier, and what a shame for Genil de Villiers. The coming together with Paul Radisich must have damaged something on the Nissan, and what a disappointment for de Villiers. Out goes Genil de Villiers. Mike Briggs in the Opel Vectra is cruising to his fourth win in a row, with Nick de Waal in the second BP Nissan trailing the championship leader by over 12 seconds. Mike Briggs takes the checkered flag and has maximum points in the AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship. There is a measure of compensation for Nissan, with Nick de Waal coming home in second place ahead of Terry Moss. The Class B battle, once again, has gone to Kersey Swanepoel, and he also has a full bag of points from 4 outings.
I got out, there was a bit of trouble behind me, and I just used the opportunity to get away. You know, I could use the fast lines, the clean lines, and they were having to fight each other. So a textbook race for me. I couldn't have asked for any better.
And Chrissy, another one.
The same. I didn't have a clean start like lucky as Michael did. I was in the mingle there in the first race. I bumped the car in the front, nothing serious damage. Luckily the car was fixed. Started in the second heat, it's a bit better. Unfortunately, Jess Huggett got by me as well. Duncan nearly pulled the gap. But I managed to catch him and take him in the inside 4 holes, and it's worked out all right the last 3 laps.
I come out of the top corner there, and the car just locked up. It either broken something in the differential department, it just locked up, and he was right behind me and couldn't still get out of the way and sort of pushed me. But it was just purely because I'd lost all drive, and he was still had his foot hard on the throttles. It was just one of those incidents that happened.
Don't miss rounds 5 and 6 of the action-packed AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship at Aldo Scrivanti this Saturday, 11 March. Be there or see highlights in the AA Racing Report exclusively on NNTV Sport on Saturday, 18th March. The AA Fleetcare Touring Car Championship, Africa's most exciting racing formula.